Good morning and welcome to the first session of the day for Tamebay Live today. Today is Cross-Border Day and really excited for this first session because we're going to be heading over to China and Alibaba's TMALL Global. But first of all, I just wanted to remind you, if you've got any questions during this session, there's a little red box at the bottom of your screen that says submit a question. So please feel free to pop your questions in there and we'll get our speakers throughout the day to answer as many of your questions as they can live at the end of their sessions. Now, I'm delighted to introduce Lara and Desiree from Pattern, who are going to talk about how to reach and retain profitability selling on TMALL Global. Now, Pattern actually manage retailers, businesses for them, for very large retailers and brands. So they've got real experience of success of managing a business on TMALL. Lara works within Pattern's international e-commerce practice, supporting retailers to develop strategies to expand online overseas. And Desiree is an APAC senior consultant in Pattern's London office with real experience and knowledge of consulting, trading and digital marketing sectors. So without further ado, welcome Lara, welcome Desiree.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Lara, shall we start sharing our tips on how to reach and retain profitability selling on the TMALL Global platform?
Yes, absolutely. You go. So just quick introductions. As Chris mentioned, I'm the international director for Pattern. I've been working with the business for almost 9 years now. I helped to set up the internationalization stream of business on the consulting side, and I've worked probably close to 200 partners on how to scale and grow internationally. At the moment, as Chris mentioned, I help brands with their strategies, global strategies, where they should go, when they should go, and then also launching new markets.
Thanks, Lara. Hi, I'm Desiree. I'm the senior consultant of Pattern under the APAC team. So my specialization is to help international brands to enter the Asian markets. And China is definitely their top choice, and TMALL Global would be the top platform that a lot of brands would like to go into. I'm based in London, so that makes me have a better time zone to serve my clients in Europe and in the US. Nice to meet you all.
Great, so we have quite a big agenda today. We might not get through all of the slides, but obviously they will be shared with you afterwards. And so if there's anything that you need more information on, please let us know, but we're going to try and get through everything. We will be going through China's e-commerce landscape and TMALL's reach, successfully launching your brand on TMALL Global, maximizing your marketing campaigns and using external channels to help drive traffic, how to consider your pricing and promotional strategy in order to maximize sales, not just across Double 11, but across all of the events, key events in the region, and also telling you a little bit about our partner model. So how we work with brands. Pattern is a global business. We have offices internationally, which I'll take you through in a moment, but we opened our China business in 2016. So we've been active in the market for 5 years. We're not just an authorized trade partner, but we're also a digital distributor. And we are a global e-commerce strategy agency. So we have a big consulting arm that helps brands solve all sorts of dilemmas. You know, how do I grow, or my business is starting to retract? How can I reactivate it? How do I win in the market? What should my product strategy be? So basically, we're across both marketplaces and D2C in China, not just marketplaces. We're active in Southeast Asia, China, Japan, and we're actually opening up our Singapore office shortly. And we've worked with a number of big brands in China, including Skechers, Moet Hennessy, and Pandora, amongst others. As Desiree quickly showed you there, we're active at the moment, and we have 9 global offices, soon to be 10, as we're opening up Singapore this summer. And we've also got distribution centers on most continents, which enables us to be a one-stop global partner for digital growth and activation internationally. And then Desiree showing you here, these are just some of the other clients that we work with. Some of these are both our 3P partners, our wholesale partners, as well as the brands that we've undertaken consulting projects for. The projects has varied from internationalization to operating models, acceleration plans, and then product segmentation strategies, as I mentioned.
Great, it's time for us to go into the interesting part of the whole presentation. So actually, there's growing demand in the China region for the international brands. So very quickly, just a snapshot on why China is always the most interesting market from a lot of international brands is due to the huge population they have, the high internet penetration, and the internet users rates in the whole country. And actually, among the whole country, Alibaba, who owns Tmall, Tmall Global, and Taobao, and JD, these two are the biggest players in the whole e-commerce sector in the country. And Taobao actually is a platform that customers can search all the listings from Taobao, Tmall, and Tmall Global. That's why a lot of customers, they are not just going to Tmall.com. They will just go to Taobao.com, which makes Taobao.com as the top one shopping site by the traffic share, and followed by JD.com. JD is also a big player that a lot of brands, once they launch successfully on Tmall, JD would be their second choice. And actually, there's also a kind of new player in the country, which is Pinduoduo. So actually, Pinduoduo is a shopping site on WeChat, but it unlike Tmall or JD, it focuses a lot on the lower price point products, and it has a very special promotion strategy. It is that if the customers share the deal with their friends and family, the more friends and family purchase the product together, the biggest discount they can have. So that's why Pinduoduo is growing very quickly, and it is now top 3 shopping site. And for the number 4, Tmall.com, it is only about all the flagship store or all the franchise store, which is a B2C platform. So like I mentioned, a lot of customers just go to Taobao.com and see all the options they have. And even though Tmall has been topped in the e-commerce platform in the country, but it is still growing quite nicely. Just in this last year, it's still growing almost 20% year on year on the GMV. And there are already more than 70,000 brands available on the platform, and it's still growing. Actually, it is 60% more number of brands and merchants selling the platform year on year. Is amazing. And among Tmall or Tmall Global, actually Tmall Global would be a very interesting platform for international brands. And Tmall Global is also focusing on attracting more and more brands to join their platform every year. Why I mentioned that Tmall Global is a more interesting platform for international brand, because it is easier for brands to start selling on this platform. This is a snapshot on the differences between Tmall.com, like Tmall Domestic, what we always say, and Tmall Global. So you can see that actually the target consumers on both platforms are the same. They are targeting the mainland Chinese consumers. However, for Tmall Global, you don't need to have any legal entity or tax registration or bank accounts, etc. within China. You can submit all the legal entity documents, the bank accounts, or the trademarks documents that you have been using in your home country or outside China. And one difference, except for this big difference, another difference is you can ship the products directly from your home country or from your overseas warehouse. But if you want to provide a better delivery experience, you can also store all the products inside China within the bonded warehouse. And this is also a very popular option for the brands, so that they can still offer next day or same day delivery, even though they are actually in the cross-border business.
So here we've just given you a quick cost breakdown for selling on Tmall. You can see that in total, it's coming out to about 44 to 57% of sales. If you just look at the Tmall fees, it can look cheap initially, but you constantly have to invest in awareness, both on and offline, and the investment will slowly start to add up. And then if you go to the next, so we just did a quick comparison to what it looks like on Amazon, because it's the biggest probably competitor outside in the West. It actually averages out slightly less, but mostly because although the commissions are higher on Amazon, the investment in awareness is less, and you can achieve more visibility on the platform for less investment. I think the big difference here between China and Amazon is that you have to invest a lot in the off platform to help drive the traffic onto your store in the Tmall platform. It's not good enough just to advertise on Tmall itself. which we'll go through later in more detail. But really, you need investment in KOLs and KOCs and much more influencers and off-platform marketing.
So Laura, why don't you show us how we can successfully launch our brands on Tmall Global?
Yes, for sure. So next slide, thank you. So what Tmall wants from brands it works with. So Tmall ultimately is looking for brands who are going to bring new customers to the marketplace and convert them. They've become much more picky about who they're going to work with in a couple of years as they seek to maintain their growth. It's not like Amazon where you can just put a product live on the platform and start selling it. Tmall actually has to approve the store openings and approve the brands that are going live in the stores. And so there's a process that has to be allowed for when you're going live to make sure that you can actually sell on the platform. And one of the things that this means is that having high awareness before you launch is actually very important. Here's some of the data points that you'd want to look at each stage of development for your Tmall store. The data in the growth and the profitability phases will be available to your trade partner, and some choose not to share it. So this comes down to the information that you can get to prepare yourself. When you're looking at Amazon, it's very difficult to pull off of Amazon, for example, how much sales you're doing. There's some tools that help you, but generally the tools aren't accurate. On Tmall, ultimately, they give you all the data you need. They can give you, detailed exactly by product, what's sold, your competitor information. It's a very robust view. And so very often what we see is trade partners, or we have brands come to us and say, we just don't know what's happening in China. We can't get the data. And usually your trade partner doesn't want to share it with you because they don't want you to know what's happening under the hood, but it is actually very easy to get. So are you prepared for launch? There's a few things I think that you should look at before going into China. One of them is your gray market demand. So this is, do you have other sellers selling your product that might be gray market via Taobao or WeChat? This is really important. And while some brands are fearful of this, it also means that there's awareness for your brand to start with. So very quickly, if you launch, if there's some of this is happening, you can probably clean it up quite quickly and know what your sales would be once you go in. But it is important to clean it up once you're live. Search engine results. So obviously looking at Google is equivalent, but looking at Baidu, you should look and see, how many articles are there? How many searches are you getting? What kind of demand and awareness is there for your brand in the market? And then finally, social media buzz. Can your brand be found on social media platforms? Are people talking about it on WeChat, Little Red Book, Weibo, etc. And again, what we found is some brands actually launch on social channels 6 months to a year before they actually go live in order to help build up some of that demand and awareness pre-launch. So is your brand right for Tmall Global? Where some stakeholders don't understand commercial modeling for trading on Tmall, it's likely that they're going to be disappointed with sales because they're not spending enough on marketing, or disappointed with profits because they expect to be profitable too quickly. It's really important that before you go on to Tmall Global, or to be honest with you, into any international market, that you do some sizing and you do some realistic assessments of how big the market opportunity is going to be, how big is it in your subcategory, is there demand for the product? What we find is some products in one market don't necessarily do well in another. Color tastes might vary. There might be slight expectations and changes in the product. Competitor analysis, how competitive is it and what price point are they selling at? One of the big things that I've seen when working in China is a lot of electronic brands in the US or in Europe want to go into China, but half the time the products are made in China, shipped to the US or Europe, and then someone's expecting to ship it back and sell it at double or triple the price versus the competitors on the platform. And it's just not possible. It's you really need to be aware of what the competitor landscape looks like and what the product pricing set looks like. And then forecasting, is my budget large enough for launching a store on Tmall Global? And is the opportunity worth the risk? Ideally, you're spending 20 to 30% of your Tmall revenue on marketing in your first year. 2/3 of this would be off-platform demand generation if you don't already have a strong brand awareness. And even with good awareness, Tmall expects you to spend about 9 to 10% of sales on their marketing services. So US dollars, 1.4 million in a year is kind of the minimum to create a sustainable business at a sellout level. And so really you have to think about how high your margin your products are and what the output's going to be. Ultimately, if your business is not going to generate $1 million US in its first year, it's probably not worth entering and doing some awareness building first.
Thanks, Lara. So actually, after you have assessed your brand's opportunity on launching on TMALL Global, it comes to what would be the requirement of having a successful launch. So actually, we've summarized into 3 big buckets. The first one is, first of all, this is the hygiene factor. You need to be ready on the storefronts, the product pages. Why do I highlight here? Because it's so fundamental. Because if you compare the TMALL Global platform and Amazon, you can see that actually Amazon A+ content is something fundamental on TMALL. TMALL is expecting the brands to have A+ content on every single item. And for each product page, it should be unique, different from any other product. You may use similar design style, but all the information need to be customized based on your target audience, based on your products. So you can easily do some competitor research to see how your competitors are doing, how they convey the product information to the customers. Like in the current situation, actually, you even need to get some real customer user-generated content to be included in the store, in the storefronts, and also on the product detail page. And for the second bucket, it is about the marketing plan and budget. Like what Lara mentioned earlier, actually marketing plan is, you need to have robust marketing plan when you first launch. You need to ensure that you have allocated enough budget for your marketing plan, both in-channel and out-channel. And for the in-channel part, don't forget to have enough money in the Alipay, which is the finance system that TMALL is using, for you to top up all the in-channel acquisition marketing activity. And set up your brand marketing through the key social media platform is essential as well. Finally, KOLs, key opinion leaders, influencers in the Western world, or key opinion customers are key in prior to your launch or during your launch, or even throughout the whole trading periods. It would be very important. And finally, be agile is very important too when you first launch into a new market, because all the plans, all the proposal, everything you plan ahead are just what you expect might happen. But eventually, how the Chinese customer really think about your products or how they really think about your brands, it might be different from what you expected, especially whether you have your very empowered customer service agents would make a difference, because trading on TMALL rely a lot on customer service. And from our own experience, actually 80% of the orders that the store receive, actually the customers, 80% of the customers, they interact with our customer service agents, maybe before they place the order or after they place the order. They will ask some questions that you might never think about before. For example, we have launched a food supplement brands before, and a real customer, they asked a question asking that, can I take the food supplement after I drink a cup of coffee? You might find it very interesting why they ask this question. We will never think about it, but actually because it's related to another question, is that they thought your food supplements is kind of a medicine. So they think it's not good to take medicine with coffee or with alcohol, and this is in their mindset. So it brings you another topic, that how you convey that food supplements is not medicine. It is for your day-to-day life supplement to give you the nutrients that you need, etc., etc. So this is very important to have the customer service agents and then give you all the data so you can be agile and then see what extra strategy or what extra operational or marketing plans that you have to do in the coming months. So if you, after you assess your brand awareness and then found out that, oh, actually, I don't have enough brand awareness in China, and probably TMALL Global would not accept my application to open a store. What I should do? But actually, it is not the end of your brands. But you can have several things to do to prepare for getting certain brand awareness before you apply officially to TMALL Global. There are three things you can do. First of all, set up your official accounts right away on the key social media platforms, including Weibo, WeChat, Red, because having your own social media accounts and then start posting localized content can help you build the fundamental presence in China. And these accounts will be used when you start trading on the platform as well. Second thing, start working with the influencers, start working with the key opinion customers on those social media platforms to create a digital word of mouth. This kind of product seeding of a new brand to be done through the KOLs would be very successful. And this is also a key aspect of how TMALL Global assess your brands. Do they see some real users already talking about your brands on the social media platforms? This will be essential. And actually, even though these content appear before you launch, this can be the fundamental base when the brands launch on the TMALL platform, because once more customers know about your brands, they will certainly search your brands on the social media platform. And then once they see, oh, actually there are some real users or some influencers already talking about your brands previously, it will add your brand credibility to them as well. Finally, if you really want to start selling right away, you can try approaching some existing multi-brand shop, depending on your category. You can try approaching them and ask whether they would like to sell your brands on their stores, so you can start gathering more information or data how the Chinese customers are thinking about your brands.
So just very quickly, I noticed that there's a question from the audience: which categories are good for TMALL versus TMALL Global versus TMALL? This is really down to regulatory. So if your products have to go through regulatory, this can take anywhere from 3 months to 9 years. Really, it can take a very long time. What we find is supplements tends to be better cross-border at first, and beauty products as well. All beauty products have to be tested on animals. So typically you'd go through the TMALL Global route first, so that you don't have to undergo that testing and you don't need to go through the regulatory. But really, TMALL Global is a testing point, isn't it, Desiree? What would you say? It's kind of, it tests demand, and it's there. It kind of it's an indicator as to whether or not you should be doing the full registration into the market.
Yeah, exactly. Especially for food supplements and beauty products, like you mentioned, you may want to test the market, find your hero products by selling cross-border first, because you don't need to spend a huge investment on the product registration and also the importing, etc. But for some products that, for example, like electronic products, it will be essential for you to sell domestically, because eventually you need to customize the products to be used in China. And a lot of customers, actually, if you sell on TMALL domestic, TMALL requires all merchants to provide a 7-day no question asked return period. So this increased customers' confidence on your brand as well. So if you do not offer this domestic refund, very seamless refund and exchange process, this might decrease how the customer's willingness to order from your stores or from your brands. So here is a case study that recently we have helped a major UK brand, a food supplement brand, to launch on TMALL Global. So actually, we have ran some workshops with the key stakeholders to understand the current business setup, what objectives they have, and finally, we have chosen a very good timing to do the official launch of the brand, because throughout the whole year, actually, March, the International Women's Day, which is called the Queen's Day on TMALL and JD, is actually the top 3 trading activity throughout the year. That's why we have captured this opportunity to have the official launch for these food supplement brands. In the whole launch campaign, we have included several key marketing activities, including the live streaming by KOLs, by celebrities. We have some top celebrities in China to talk about the key products that we want to push it as the hero products. We also cooperated with a series of KOLs on different marketing platforms, mainly on Red, a little Red book, to build a brand awareness. And you can see from the graph in the middle that after we have successfully launched all the campaign and also some interaction campaign, we can see a exponential growth of the number of followers on our social media platform. Except from Red, we also have a lot of content posted on Weibo. So having a variety of content of the posts on Weibo, which is essential as well for the brands to interact with customers. The content you can include can be the interaction one, like an online lottery. The customers need to like, share, and comment, inviting their friends to like the comments, etc. To have some brand building content, repost all the KOL activities that you have on your own social media platform. Interact with your KOLs would be key to gain the extra traffic, extra exposure of your post. Depending on your category, because this is a food supplement category, we post knowledge related, health related information. This is also very welcomed by the Chinese customers. And finally, of course, you need to use the platform to talk about the promotion, the deals you have, but you can't be too hard selling. Just mention it infrequently. That would be all right. So after talking all these, I'm going to show you actually how you can do marketing on platform and off platform. What would be the key trends that you need to be aware of if you're going to launch on TMALL Global? So actually, TMALL, like we mentioned earlier, actually TMALL is not getting a lot of commission on the item that you sold, but they actually need you to spend a lot on the on-platform marketing to capture the traffic. And actually, the cost of getting one traffic to your store is getting more expensive. So it is very important for you to try and to gather all the data and see which channel actually, or which traffic acquisition activity actually suits your brands. So basically, TMALL offer different kinds of marketing, like the in-channel SEM, PPC bidding, any like banner ad, affiliate marketing, paid participation into several activities like the flash sales, live streaming, and also content posting. In the coming slides, I'm going to show you the key activities that will make your brands or your stores different when you start trading. The first one is how you use the KOL seeding to help bringing traffic to your store. So having some endorsement from the local professionals, some engagement, product knowledge, brand building activities, word of mouth. Actually, all this, even though they happened in the out channel side, you can use all this content on your own social media, on your own stores within TMALL, either on the product detail page, or use this information to post on your in-channel social media platform, which is previously called Weitao. I'm going to show you how Weitao has been changed into subscription recently. Live streaming is another thing that we all brands need to be aware of. Actually, live streaming can be categorized into two different types. The first one is to have a KOL or a celebrity to talk about your brands in their own live streaming video. The second one is to have the live streaming video constantly by your own store. So you can have an in-house host to talk about your products every night. You might not expect a lot of audience to your own store because this is kind of like an engagement activity than a sales-driven activities. This is for your loyal customers to interact with the brand directly, to ask questions, kind of like a customer service function instead of sales-driven. So having a sales-driven one or the traffic-driven one cooperate with the KOL or celebrity, but having constant or daily live streaming in-house, that would be an engaging activity. And this is what I mentioned earlier, the micro-blogging or the social media function within TMALL or Taobao. So actually, if you enter any store on TMALL on the app, through the app page, you can see that in the middle, of the bottom banner, there is a button to lead you to the subscription page. So actually this subscription page let the brands to announce new product launch, to announce the promotional offers, share any user-generated content. This is a social media platform. So when you plan your content calendar on the social media platform like WeChat, Weibo, don't forget about this subscription within the channel as well. And this is a new function, Guang Guang, which is shop around in the meaning. Guang Guang is the Chinese name. So this is a very new function that just launched by TMALL this year. So we can see that how content become more important on TMALL, because TMALL also, they know that how TikTok or Douyin in China is influencing the market. That's why they have added this Guang Guang function to incorporate the TikTok elements within the whole app. So once the customers land into the TMALL app, in the bottom, you can immediately see a button that leads you to the Guang Guang page. And in the Guang Guang page, there are two categories of content you can see. The first one is almost like a TikTok, that you can see a lot of Taobao KOLs update. These contents are mainly about some product placement, and then videos is very famous on this category as well. And the second category is about the brand's update. That's why right now a lot of brands, they plan all the content calendar. They need to have investment not only on the in-channel marketing like acquire traffic, but they also need to spend enough investment on creating content constantly, because one day after you post it, the other day that content might be gone, and you need to have some other extra content to be posted within the channel as well. And here is a case study from Pattern. So actually, we have cooperated with KOLs and celebrities to acquire enough traffic to build a brand awareness. But at the same time, we also have an in-house host to talk about the products every day. And after we have done this practice for several weeks, we can see that the result is very encouraging. Actually, the store has rose from tier 1 to tier 4 in the category. That means our stores is now the top 15% of the stores in the food supplement category. And we can also see that due to the COVID situation, a lot of customers, they are more concerned about health, and they are more willing to take food supplements. And because they are quite new to this food supplement category, they also treasure the interaction time with our host to ask questions, what recommendation we have if they have certain concern, a health concern, etc. So having live streaming in-house, remember to interact with your customer would be very key. And then this is about the out-channel marketing parts. So there are a lot of out-channel marketing marketing platforms you can use, but I'd like to share with you some key ones. Like Weibo is a very traditional one, but it is still growing very quickly. They have a large amount of monthly active users. You can interact with your customers or KOLs through the channel, having regular posting content. They even have a Weibo store function that you can link your TMALL product listing directly to your Weibo account. So the customers can they can complete the order right away after they see it on Weibo, and then complete the order with TMALL widgets on it. T2 Wrapbook is very popular, especially to the young female generation. And a lot of brands, especially the health-related or beauty-related brands, they will cooperate with the KOLs on this platform, or even place ads on the platform. And you can see that you can immediately see all the reviews from the real customers after you cooperate with the KOL. Douyin, TikTok is also very popular right now. It is focusing on a lot of funny videos, but sometimes it might be suitable for your brands. Like if you're pet brands, you can have some interesting, funny pet videos with the product placement. This might also be a way to increase your brand awareness. And this is Bilibili. Bilibili is also quite a trendy platform right now in China. It is almost like a YouTube in China. And we can see the increasing engagement rate when you cooperate with the KOLs on this platform. But of course, because this becomes one of the most popular platform, the marketing budget to work with the KOLs on this platform, I would say it is one of the most expensive platforms.
So Desiree, can I ask you a question just on that very quickly? So
sure.
Given that this is a new channel that's just emerging, what does this mean for the older channels? Like, are you diverting money away or investment from the older channels and into this one?
Yes, very good question. Because of the new platform, new channels appearing in China, so actually we can see brands starting to invest less on WeChat. So actually WeChat it almost becomes a daily life app rather than a brand that you can use it to promote it or to have more brand exposure on it. We can see the decrease of ROI on WeChat. That's why a lot of brands, they start to invest more on other platforms than WeChat. And finally, one key out channel or external channel marketing investment can be a B2B2C model. So don't forget that still quite a number of customers, they like to shop offline or they want to see the exact products before they place an order. Try collaborating with some offline physical stores to display your products. Sometimes you can be creative. For example, since we are trading some food supplement brands, we have been collaborated with some health center or health management institutions who have exactly the target audience that we need. And we can have some professionals in those centers to recommend our products, to let the customers touch and feel the products before they actually place an order on TMALL. And from our experience, actually having this B2B2C model, it helps to contribute around 1/3 of the total sales volume we achieved.
And this is something that we're seeing, it's a growing trend, and we're actually seeing more and more of this. And as a result, we've actually started to build out our offline distributor model in order to help service it truly and be a fully multi-channel partner for brands in the region.
Right.
So
Desiree, there was just a question that, I'm sorry.
We've got about 10 minutes left, but we've got a few questions. The top question I think I'd like to ask is, there's obviously an awful lot to do and it's going to be a huge investment to get live on TMALL Global. Really importantly, who do I need in my team? And you talked about the costs and it looked like it was maybe sort of 5 or 6% more expensive than selling on Amazon. So is it more cost effective to build my own team or to use a partner like Pattern? And what's the cost difference between building my own team and using a partner?
So, I mean, I think if you go back to the slide very quickly, Desiree, with the costs on it or not, I mean, you'll have the slides with you. I think the trade partner comes out about 6 to 15% of sales, from what I remember. Yeah, it's here. It's 6 to 15% of sales. You building out your own team. I personally, having worked in international for 15 years in international e-commerce, I think it'd be very hard to have a team here that manages China. You know, it changes so fast. Things are changing on a daily basis, and understanding the mindset of the customer is just so important. For you to set up your own team, I think it would have to be local. You'd probably have to open up an office in somewhere like Hong Kong or Singapore to manage the region. And I think that takes time and comes with its own set of complexities personally. I think what you need is we have these slides a little bit later on. We were going to get to it towards the end, but if you go to slide 45, Desiree, we kind of outlined a little bit. I think immediately, to answer your question, you need somebody who can help do the business plan, right? Like help identify the trade partner, figure out the P&L, understand what demand looks like, understand what the opportunity is, understand what the competitor landscape looks like, cost to serve is what the cost to serve is going to be, how much is shipping going to be to get it into the market, and all of the registrations, and then go from there. So that's there's various consultancies that can help you pull that together. We can pull it together. I think ultimately in your business, you probably need 2 or 3 people on a project team to work it out. But I would also say that identifying a trade partner to help you in the region is really important. If you don't have a local execution, I really don't think you'll succeed.
So I think that the best thing to say is, if you want to find out more, drop past Patton's showcase on Tamebay Live or contact them after the event. We've got a question coming in again about localization. Obviously, they said local language translation, but what other techniques are important to appeal to a Chinese audience in terms of the look and feel of adverts compared to Western adverts?
Yeah. So to be fair, I think this comes down to my last point, which is local execution. At the end of the day, if you don't trust your local team, you won't be successful. And it all comes down to localization. We've worked with partners before who insist on having Western looking advertisements, and it just doesn't convert, and the data proves it. So I would say that do test and learn campaigns, test both and see which one is more reactive, has more conversions. But at the end of the day, they do things differently. They have a different way of reading. It's things like when you have a blog post about a new product that you're launching, for example, and we had this come up, don't have a blog post about the product. Talk about the product benefits and the efficacy of it and what it's going to improve, and then mention the product at the end. You don't mention your brand and product first. You go in at a solution level, and it's not so overt and obvious. Would you say, Desiree?
Yes, totally. And one experience or one tips that I can share is that every brand should have their own brand VI guideline on how the design should be looking. Try using a generic one and then start building a localized one. For example, a very fundamental element that some brands might miss is that we have a guideline on what font type we should use. But have you thought about what font type in Chinese you want us to use? You want the trade partners to use? It is very fundamental but easy to miss out. And how customers think about your brands might also be different in the Chinese customer's mind. So I would say having a trustworthy trade partner, sharing your international Western brand guideline with them, and then try doing the localization together with the partner. They can provide you all the insights from a local perspective, and then try to come up with a Chinese specific brand guideline and do the localization. That would be the best way on the execution part.
Yeah. And it's all about the detail. Things like the color red is very lucky. The color green is not. So
yeah, totally different.
Going down to what colors should be in your advertisements is also really important, because that will directly resonate with someone that's looking at it.
And I'm guessing this extends beyond advertising to perhaps actually tailoring the product itself. So if green is not a great color in China and you've got a green product, should you be looking to change the color palettes you're using, or and what other things might you have to tailor on a product?
100%. I mean, there's all sorts of different considerations. There's the color variants, and there's also even the naming conventions, right? And brand names. Very often, brands have to come up with a Chinese name when they go into the market, or they have to change the name of their products. We talked to one partner once who had in their product names, they were alluding to popular song names in the West. And I remember actually being on a call with this partner with Desiree. It was probably about 2 years ago. And Desiree was just like, I don't know that song. I don't know that song. I don't know that song. Yeah. And the partner was going to have to literally change his entire product naming convention for the entire product set, because none of it resonated with a Chinese consumer.
Mm. We see that with everything, even from just sort of basic motor cars, different names in different territories. So it's not particularly unusual. But how do you capture what the next hot thing will be in China? Because I know it's so fast moving. So how do you get ahead of the curve and make sure that, let's say, food supplements, how do you know, how do you launch your next range of food supplements into China and know what's going to hit the mark and what's not? Or it doesn't have to be that, it could be in any vertical.
Right. So actually this also depends on whether you will have regular catch up with your trade partners. So actually the trade partners, a good trade partner not only follow your strategy on what to execute or just focusing on the execution part. Like us, we always look at read all the market research, and actually like TMALL, they actually also provide you a lot of data. What are the trendy keywords within the platform in your category? This kind of valuable data will provide you insights. What is the hot trend? What is the key topic that a lot of customers are talking about? And normally, I would say a best practice is to have weekly catch up with your trade partner on some execution part, but still having some updates on what the market's going on. And then on the monthly basis, provide them, let the trade partners to have an opportunity to do some suggestion, especially with the trade partners that they have their own customer service team. They are the ones who actually interact with your end customers on daily basis. They get to know what the key concerns is, what's the main questions that they ask. This kind of real feedback or immediate feedback would be key for the brands to do localization or to plan ahead what they're going to launch in the coming quarters.
And ultimately, this boils down to finding a trustworthy partner, right? China can be a little bit of a black hole. I can't tell you how many brands have come to us who've gone live in China with a partner, only to find that they didn't do their due diligence up front, and they felt like they lost control of their brand because they didn't have the know-how in-house to understand what was happening in the region, or the language capabilities to challenge their TP or to challenge what the TP was telling them. So having the right partner is just so important. I can't stress it enough that you need to find the right partner. Otherwise, you can go have real brand damage.
Yeah. So actually, this is a slide that we got some screen captures from the TMALL backend system. They actually have hundreds of key indicators to show you how your brand is doing or how your store is doing. These all information should be available from your trade partners or your potential trade partner, because they are actually available on the TMALL backend system.
And this is the information that very often we find trade partners don't want to share with brands.
Because it's too detailed.
It's too detailed, and it's got a lot of information about what's going well, what's not. How sales have declined or not declined, how the competitors are doing, where they should be growing versus not. TMALL provides all sorts of information, like where you're sitting in the category in comparison to your partners and what your lost revenue looks like, but by not being optimized. I mean, it's very detailed.
Yeah.
So
and this
whichever
is
part you're using, make sure you ask for the data from TMALL and properly evaluate.
Yeah,
exactly.
So we've literally got 3 minutes left. If you were to sort of summarize everything that someone should do just to get to a start position, where would we be?
Yeah, I mean, first things first, understand the market, right? Before you go into any new market, you need to look at what the market is, who your total addressable audience is, how big they are, how the product's going to resonate, what the price looks like, what's the total price you can actually get for your product. And then you start to work backwards. You kind of say, okay, if there's a total addressable market and I think the price point works and the product works, then you work backwards. You say, hey, how do I get live on the platform? What's my cost to serve? How much is it going to cost me to ship it to the market? How much is it going to cost me in marketing? How much is it going to cost me in trade fees? And what does the P&L and profitability standpoint look like? And what kind of growth can I expect over the next few years? And so you start to kind of map it out. And then I think once you have an idea of what that looks like, then you start to kind of partner with somebody and develop your go-to-market strategies for marketing and how you're going to ramp up and grow.
Yeah. So this is obviously going to be a massive investment for anyone. So you want to make sure you are going to get the reward at the end. So obviously people can come to Pattern. Where do you start with them? What's the first thing you'll do with someone? Is it assessing the product or assessing the strategy or looking at where do you start?
Honestly, and I do this on Amazon, I do this on TMALL, I do this in any country, to be honest with you. The very first thing I do when somebody writes to me and says we're interested in going into this market, I go onto the biggest marketplace and type their brand name in, and I look to see what's happening. I look to see how many sellers they have, if there's any gray market. I look to see what's happening to their price. Is it being sold at full price or is it being discounted? If it's being discounted, why? I look at their star ratings and reviews. Are they getting 2-star reviews, 5-star reviews? And I read the reviews to say, what do people think about this product locally? And that gives me a pretty good indication of how they do, right? Like if you've got lots of listings and good star ratings, but it's a bit of a mess in terms of content and marketing, there's a big opportunity. There's no listings. Oh, it's a hard slog. I think we're over.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you so much, Lara and Desiree, for your time today. It's been fascinating. And if anyone does want to find out more, then go to the patent showcase and they'll be able to help you there.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.